everyone. My name is Mahi, and welcome back to Candid Talk, the podcast where we look at the invisible behind the visible. My guest today is not just a teacher, he is a multifaceted, nuanced individual. So he's a chemistry teacher, a musician, a writer, a storyteller. So let's welcome Mr. Edberg to our show.
Thank you, Mahi. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a weekend and it's a very good start for the weekend.
That's exciting. Have you ever done anything like this before?
As a teacher, sometimes students come in and ask for some video reviews and all that. We do that, but that's a different thing. That's like you send a video. But this is something that I'm doing after a very long time, after maybe a span of 10 years.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you have been involved sort of in like the artistic way of life in a way.
Right. It's a lot of creativity involved.
That's interesting. And I was really curious about the fact that in the beginning I mentioned that you're, a musician, which is super fascinating, but you're also a teacher and you have all these creative things going on. I want to know, out of all of these things, why did you go into teaching of all things, especially chemistry?
All right. See, what happened is when I was studying my graduation, I was doing triple majors, microbiology, chemistry, and zoology, right? So there happened to be a couple of professors whom I just adored them, the way they taught. My perspective of chemistry changed at that point of time. I had very straight thought process. I was about to do my sound engineering after my degree. And then one fine day, my dad came and told me, like, you've been doing BSc so far. BSc is done. And just another 2 more years of post-graduation, choose. And then you're free to do whatever you want. That was it. And then because of these professors, I thought, if something like this, chemistry can be taught in this, like students are free. Students are, every time when somebody comes and tells me that, are you a chemistry teacher? How do you do that? Like, I don't know what you feel about it. I don't know what is your subject. But
yeah, I mean, I dropped science in 10th grade, but chemistry for me, I think I've always seen it as like the hardest of all 3 sciences.
In fact, recently, I met someone, and then I know the person for a very long time, and then he comes and tells me, okay, which grades do you teach music for? I had to explain that I'm not a music teacher, I'm a chemistry teacher. So that inspiration was from my professors. So I thought I would teach, and that would give me some more time for music as well.
So were you always like a studious person growing up? What were you like?
No, I was not a studious person. In school, maybe top 3, top 4, maybe. Okay, but it's not like studious things. We were doing a lot of things. I was always out of school. A lot of competitions that was there. So my mom used to take me for every competitions. So she used to accompany me almost like till the high school though. So it was more like I'm an outgoing person in school. But after that, college was okay. We did good, pretty good. Not that bad, not that great.
I think college is where most people lose the whole academic.
Because you have a lot of other things to look at.
Yeah, I mean, but even I think if you give your 100%, there's somewhere between the lines you just kind of lose that whole academic genius that you had in school.
Right, and then you start questioning things.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of questions, like especially chemistry. It's like they say, if the chemistry textbook is this much, and then if you remove all the exceptions, it becomes only this much, right? So you have the questions, why is this? Why are we even studying this? Right?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe in that journey, you lose out.
Yeah, that's true. Have there been things that you've studied growing up, but that you've learned growing up that you thought were completely useless and you still think that they're useless?
That's a little tricky question for me to answer right now because I have felt it. But over the time, I realized that it is important. Let me tell you about mathematics. I never liked maths. And then in my +2 application of integrals, I don't know what I was doing. I really didn't know what to do about it. I just skipped that part. And whatever marks I got, I only got except for integration, application of integrals. And then I used to wonder why are we even studying this? But now recently, as in like a few years back, I was thinking, there are a lot of applications. I wish I had studied more about it. Now it's very too late to go back and.
So is there a moment where you have to sort of like teach yourself that again because you have to use it?
No. I don't have much of that. at the moment, but I wish I could get some time to understand that better. Maybe.
So what does like your day off look like since it's the weekend? What do you normally do to keep yourself occupied and like recharge and relaxed?
Well, there are a lot of things. Most important is my family. I have my wife and my kid. He's 5 years old. So I spend a lot of time. I want to spend a lot of time with him. And in fact, he's also following. He also is into music. So he's a 5-year-old drummer. So yeah, so we do a lot of things together. We play around, and then yeah, it's most of family. And then I have my time, my space for music. Small setup at home. So spend some time. I take him out for classes, and we go out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do some creative work with students also. Like last weekend, we were doing something. Yeah. I'm mentoring some of the students for a band, a rock band.
Oh, wow.
So they're all cool with me. They're not my direct students. Some of them are, but that process, all of that is good.
That's exciting. So I'm really curious to know like what specific moment or like memory or experience like back in your childhood triggered the sort of like domino effect of you going after one thing after another, like in like different creative aspects.
I don't know. I don't have that specific moment, but for music, I do have a moment. But I always fascinated with so many things. I was talking to you about grade 4. We had to write an article. So, what do you want to become in life? And at that point of time, our family is more into art. So my uncle is an art teacher, and he's also a cartoonist. It's quite well known. So he published a book that time. That is back in somewhere in 90s, right? I was in grade 4. So in his book, I read that Walt Disney did something about animation and all of that, how it was processed, how it was done, and all of that. So that moment, I wanted to be an animator. So I wrote an article. I wish I can find that article. So that was one thing I wanted to be that. Then I thought I'd become an astronaut. Many things. And I never thought at that moment I would be a chemistry teacher.
That is true. So how did you deal with like wanting to be too many things? Because every kid goes through that phase.
Yeah, everyone wants to be different things. I agree with you. I think it's fascination. You build up that fascination and you get over it and you want new things.
So what came first for you? Was it the music or did it start with writing or what did it start with?
No, the writing is much later. Writing came on much later. It started with art.
Art.
Painting.
Wow.
So because I had that exposure at home. We used to see a lot of things artwork happening at home. And if you designing, the front page, cover page designing, back then, even before those designing came in, even before Corel Draw and all came in, I remember my uncle doing it. So I used to replicate it on my books, I used to do a cover page, like all of that. So all that art came in first. And then I had a privilege as a child to make art columns, puzzles for a local newspaper. And then I used to get 100 rupees back then for one column.
Okay, that's exciting.
That's sometime in grade 6 or something.
So that was like your first
earning. That was my first earning. I was so fascinated with earning 100 rupees for one column.
So how long did you do that for?
For like 2-3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, you should do that. And I used to come on Sunday. The Sunday children's corner used to have.
Yeah.
So every Sunday there used to be one column there. And those days my sign also was different.
Oh, nice.
It's just nostalgic now.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to know, you said a quote that said life in itself inspires you a lot.
Yeah.
So anything from your life growing up until now, what moments or small things are reflected into your work, into your art?
I completely feel that as a person, we learn a lot of things from others. I mean, that's a known fact. But each time you meet some person, I'm a good listener also. I just like to listen to people. And like you spend some time with somebody, I think it's a lot of learning. So people you meet in life, every time some new person comes in your life, and then they have a purpose, I feel. I know that's what I meant. Everybody has some purpose, and everybody, whoever you meet in life has a purpose. this conversation has a purpose, something like that. I feel that. So there is no specific moment as such, but a lot of moments.
Anything that stands out for you, you know, maybe as like a teenager or as a young adult, anything that sort of stands out to you.
Maybe instances of watching something.
Okay.
Okay, you won't believe me, but when I was in grade 1, I mean, that's the time Jurassic Park released.
Yeah, okay.
Sometime in 93. And then as a child, you won't understand much of it.
Mhm.
But the music
Mhm.
of that music done by John Williams kind of stayed with me for a long time. Okay. So I don't have any idea of who's the director, right? Because we don't know back then. It's only with VCR. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
You know about it.
Yeah.
So we had to get a VCR and then used to get the tape. So that moment, Jurassic Park was the first movie that I watched in theater. And that moment, I can still recreate that moment. I know that moment very clearly. It's right in front of my eyes. And that moment, I thought I will be a musician also. So I will learn music some. And then after a few years, sometime I was in grade 6 or so, we had the cyber cafes coming,
Yeah.
right? So we used to go and for half an hour at 20 rupees and all that. So one of those Google search, the first thing that I searched was Jurassic Park composer. And that is the first time I saw the image of John Williams. I didn't know who John Williams was. So that movie was very inspiring for me. And so happened last Friday, I had the privilege to watch that movie with my son and with the live music at Abu Dhabi. Last weekend I was there. Yeah.
Wow.
It was the entire movie with the live music played with the full orchestra.
Wow.
Oh, that moment was awesome.
So it's like a core memory for your
Yeah.
son as well.
Yeah.
So, who are some of your musical inspirations? I'm really.
I have a lot of inspiration. I listen to I don't have particular, but I listen to a lot. I like the Beatles.
The Beatles? I love the Beatles.
You love the Beatles.
Who's your favorite?
I like John Lennon.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. Paul McCartney also because he's a bass
great.
guitarist and
Yeah.
and then I like the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
Okay. Have you heard about Bellamy Brothers? Okay, Bellamy Brothers. It's like kind of
Are you a Fleetwood Mac fan?
no, not really. Yeah, something with 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70s. Somehow, when I was a kid, I had this cassette of Eagles at home. I don't know who brought that home. My dad never listened to Eagles, but it was at home. This old Videocon tape recorder. So somehow I got it. Maybe that, and also a lot of 90s music, Indian music.
Yeah, I think that inspires almost like
Oh.
everyone. That is
I
just
still have those cassettes at home. Ashiki and
the melodies, the lyrics,
Sergeant,
everything.
Ashiki and all of that. It's still there.
So I think if you had the opportunity to sort of compose a score or like music for any film or anything like that, what would your ideal scenario be for that?
As in scenario, as in
Scenario, like what would for you, what kind of movie would you like to contribute to?
something like a time travel.
Like Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is, yeah, I like all the Back to the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Spielberg again, right?
Yeah, Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think it would. Have you ever tried to like replicate anything like that? Do you have any files just sitting on your computer? You're just like coming up with small tunes and anything like that.
See, as a producer, like most of us, right, we have something called as untitled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of projects which are untitled and you just left it halfway. Sometimes I just pick up something that I left 3 years back. I started working on one of the project, right? So this is completely instrumental. It was called The Wandering Dunes. I'm still just working on it.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
nice. Is there like a story behind it?
Yeah, it's like a journey of 5 songs. Starting from the first song to the end, the journey continues. There's no lyrics in it, but it's kind of, I'm just working on it.
So to like kind of ignites like a feeling with it.
Maybe we call it new age music.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, so being a musician, of course, it's exciting. There's a lot of things going on for you. You can write, you can make music and stuff like that. you play the bass,
Yeah.
bass guitar in particular. When did you realize that's like the instrument you wanted to stick with? What do you like about it so much?
You know, here when you look at the bands here, if you're playing for a gig, right? Bass guitar is just someone, he's like a luxury. Luxury as in, if you have 4-piece band, right? Then it happens when like bass guitarist gets in the picture when there's a big budget. Otherwise, the keyboardist will do it on the left hand that way. But you know, without the bass, the song doesn't make sense, right? If you have heard any songs from Indian music, 𝐬𝐤𝐥𝐤.
No, I don't.
𝐬𝐤𝐥𝐤 is someone who emphasized bass guitar in Indian music, Indian film music. There was a lot of bass licks that was happening in his songs. You should listen to some of the songs.
I
All
will.
right.
There we go.
He's done in Bollywood as well. He's quite old now. But those bass licks are like, that's also quite inspiring. And I always wanted to be a bass guitar. It was quite cool standing in one corner and playing. Nobody did that. People don't remember bass guitarists' names, right? They are always into the front man, like the lead guitarist or the vocalist. But bassist is someone who's like cool.
The secret, like
the people who know the bass will know what.
I think it's like the secret ingredient to tie the whole
Yeah. If you
song
don't put
together.
them, it feels empty.
Yeah. Have you ever? Are you familiar with other instruments? Have you played any other?
I play the piano. I used to play the violin, a bit of mandolin, and guitar, of course, the rhythm and little bit of lead.
When did you realize that with teaching and with everything going on in your life, you could incorporate music into it as well, just adding another extra thing to do?
No, that was always in my mind. There was, as in when I went into teaching, I knew that I'm going to do this two things at a time. So if my first job was till 4 o'clock. So after 4, it was like, it's a different zone altogether. I was a lecturer in it. So I was there in Bangalore. After my studies, I got into teaching in a college. So after 4 o'clock, life was different. But it used to be tiring at times because sometimes there has been days where I've gone back to studio and stayed all night and then come back to college in the morning. That I can never forget that.
So there was.
But now it's not like that. Now things have become very easy. A lot of people are doing a lot of things. It's you type and say what you want, you get it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So when working with kids, what was like your first experience like compared to where you are now? Are there any like memorable stories that you have?
I was always been with the elder kids, like all post 16 most of the time. So there's not much of difference. When I came in here, only thing was the multinationality thing. I did not have that. I did not expect it so much. It would be different. I still remember my first day when I came. It was like, okay, this is something different because you cannot address everyone in the very same way.
Yeah,
I learned a lot after coming to Dubai. It's very different than what I started.
Have there ever been because with obviously in like chemistry, there's theory, there's practical as you grow older. Have there been any funny stories of where things just like went wrong for you when you started with your practicals?
With the kids?
With the kids, or when you started your like whole practical thing of like mixing stuff and all that?
Okay, I have a story. I don't know how fascinating it is, but it is fascinating for me. So when I was in grade 11, we call it PUC there. So we had a group, like burette, titration, burette, yeah. So there were 4 of us, and then there was this girl who put the burette down.
Okay.
So this happened in 2005. So when this entire thing broke down, and there is one knob of it fell on the floor, and then I picked it up and then said, "She said you have to pay for it." So I said, "I will take this as a memory."
Okay.
It's the first time I broke something. Like I didn't break, but group It's like me breaking itself, right?
Okay.
So I took that knob and I took it home and I put it on the showcase there at home in the living room. So my friends always used to make fun of me, like, what's wrong with you? What is this? What is it? Oh, this is something we broke, so it's just for a memory. Someday. It went on years when I was doing my post-graduation. I broke a pivot by mistake. And this time everything was intact except for the knob. The knob broke.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right. And then he said, you have to pay for it. I said, just give me one day. Just give me one day. And I went back. I took out that after a very long time. I took out that and sorted. I didn't have to pay for it.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it is. So it served its purpose.
There was something behind it. I don't know why I did it, but there was something.
Yeah. So it was waiting.
I did share the story with my kids in school. They asked me a lot of stories to tell. I don't know.
Any other stories that you've shared with them that you'd like to let our
No, they asked me stories, but I don't have the time to share the stories like this in school. A lot of stories, unfortunately, when we had this lab exam, this was again in grade 12. I am very sure of my practicals. I am 100% sure of what I do. So I'm very okay with it. And then the teacher comes in, the lecturer comes in, and then all of a sudden we are doing a test. It's a prep test. Then she asks us to keep our manuals. Go out, get the manuals, the lab books, and keep it on the table. So we all go back, and then everybody comes and keeps the book on the table. I don't have my book. Okay. I know that it was right outside, but I don't have my book. And then she says, this is your book. I said, okay. I said, okay, thank you. I said, bye. I said, this was kept near the window. So you were trying to copy.
Oh, yikes.
So I have no clue what you're talking about. Maybe I would have just how we study in the last minute and you just keep it on there. And I said, give me the test. What do you want? Shape my paper. And it was clean.
And no one
I could do the test.
It was kept there.
No, I convinced them that it was by mistake. And you can ask me any question. I was good at it.
Have you ever tried to cheat?
No, I never felt like cheating. It's like, I don't know. What's the purpose? I mean, it's not that, I'm a goody types. Not at all. Yeah. But I never felt that purpose of cheating and things like that. Any exams.
Have you seen students try to cheat?
Of course, I've got people.
What's like the most creative way they've done it?
Sometimes I wonder, I found one of them writing on the scale. That's a very old thing. I thought, you could have done better than that.
Okay.
The transparent scale.
Yeah.
So written on the pencil. So you won't make out if it's dark desk.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I actually didn't know that. I've never really cheated.
It's not a great tip.
I've never cheated in school, so actually I don't. Okay. So what is a piece of work that, you're the most proud of that you've done for yourself? It could be, anything from like collaborating with your students or any creative project that you've done. What is something that you're proud of?
See, I'm proud of one work that I did. This happened during the COVID. I wrote a script, this entire screenplay, everything. I wanted to do it up like movie, like a short film, but COVID happened. But I had to do that for a particular reason. So I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything. So it was just in my desk. I connected with somebody. I asked someone to send voiceovers and I made a short film. It's completely audio film. It's an audio film called The Sound of the Rain.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. Okay. I cannot disclose how it's about a relationship, a boy and a girl. And sometime in 2010, the boy is doing masters in chemistry.
Is it
he's also no. But I wrote it in my character.
Oh.
He's also doing chemistry, and there's a question where the girl asks, like, why are you doing chemistry? So there is a very deep connection. I want you to watch it. Please watch it. It's called The Sound of the. It's an audio film, and a lot of people really, really liked it. Yeah.
Nice. So I think that was a good time for you to really just focus on.
And that's why I thought, I can write better. I can still. I have something in mind. If everything goes well, I direct.
Wow, okay, nice. So that's exciting. So which one, what do you like connect to more? Do you connect to music more? Do you connect to like writing more? What do you connect to the most?
And now I'm in a stage where I feel that it's all connected to one. It's like a philosophy.
Mm.
Now, my science aspirations in science also, I feel that it's all same. Art, science, everything is one thing. It's I don't differentiate them anymore. I've reached that stage.
So I guess you've like matured with understanding.
I don't know if I can call myself as mature because every time that I feel that I've learned something, then there's something more to it.
Nice.
It's deep. More you get into it, and it's like just not fin. It's not done.
So how do you encourage your students to study but also like go explore their creative sides as well?
I have a lot of students who are into this, like they're good at studies and they're doing other things. So I connect with them. Many times I connect with them. I speak to them, and I tell them that once you go out of the school, it's a vast thing. There are a lot of competition. It's a real world. So you have to get ready for your real world. Because in your school, like say, you're the star.
Yeah.
So everybody will like you, everything. But the real picture comes outside. When you go outside the school, the real competition, you have to be ready for that. If you really want to do something, it's fine.
So does this like relationship that you have with your student, does it help you like talk to them more freely? Do they open up to you and share like things?
Just a couple of days back, so we were doing some kind of work and we were waiting for the results, like experiment. And suddenly one student was talking to me. How do you do chemistry? And she was asking a lot of questions. Then I said, you're helping me. I said, I have an interview in a couple of days. I have a podcast interview, I said. So this is like a practice session for me. Go on, I said.
Interesting. Nice. That's very nice. So I'm sure like your students would enjoy watching this and listening to you share your story. Do you see like any parallels of your younger self and your students right now?
I see a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sometimes when, there are struggles at times, especially when you want to do something different every time.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of struggles, and I know that the student is not purposely doing it. He's not able to score well. The aspirations, the desires of scoring is there, wanting to know is there, but sometimes when they're not able to perform well in the paper, I connect well with that. I have faced all of it.
Yeah.
So I always tell them, you see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time. It's okay.
I think it's challenging at times because they're always hard on themselves, especially when all these expectations on them.
And because expectation is because of the lot of resources, so many resources. We think that way. Sometimes I hear people telling, back in if I had too many resources, I would have done those things. But it's not true. Even if I go back in my time, for my time, I think there was quite some resources. There are people telling me, okay, if I would have had all these resources, I would do it. Right? I think it's a game. It goes on.
That is true. Yeah. So with all of these things going on for you, how did you like struggle? Did you struggle with like maintaining a balance with all of this? Like, what do you do to balance everything out?
Sometimes it happens. We are human. We do fix it. As I said, when there's work, when there's a project happening, we have to balance a lot of things. Like there's no compromise in family time.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, if you don't give that time to the family, then all that you're doing is absolutely waste of time. Right? That one thing I firmly believe. So I think it's work-life harmony and work-life balance. Right? So right now it's all good. So not many projects, but it's going.
In the future, would you ever completely like focus on music or anything like that? Like once you're done with teaching?
I had those thoughts a couple of times, but I think I should. I don't know whether I will do it. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure of that. So, but I have some aspirations in education also.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of that.
That's interesting. So I have one last question for you that I ask everyone. What is something that you've done that to this day no one knows about? Anything?
Something that I've done. Oh. Something, is it like silly?
Yeah, could be anything.
Now I'm not able to recollect, but there are a few things, as a kid, you've done a lot of things. When your parent is telling what to do, and that's when you what to do.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
reverse psychology.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of things like that. Like I don't know a specific, but a lot of things, even in college. I was like a black sheep.
Oh, did you have like a rebellious phase in college of just like,
No. I never had. There are people. There are three different types of people. One is rebellious, one are very students, and then there are one set of people who are both sides. They're good with the professors, and they're good with the other side of students. They're everywhere. Neutral.
Yeah.
So you benefit. I was one of those.
That's very strategic then.
Yes.
Yeah. So before we end our episode, is there any message you'd like to just give out to the people? You can look into the camera and say
Right. Based on my experiences in life is very simple. I think most important thing is to be grateful for all the opportunities that you get in life. I think right from being grateful to parents for this life, I think being grateful, and your skills will never leave. As in, what I'm trying to say is, sometimes we might wonder because this is a world of AI. Everything is done, even if you don't have a skill. But one point of time, if there is nothing of this AI, there's no internet or anything, your skill will never leave you. So I think whatever skills you have, you should just keep on working on it. And what I believe is, I was always told, don't be a jack of all and master of none. But my personal motto has always been this. You have to be, okay, you can be a jack of all and master of many. And I've always followed that, and I will follow. And also, just want to add one thing. See, the YallaSchools award that I won, which happened on December 6th. December 6th, 2015 was my first day in Dubai working.
Wow.
So after exactly on the 9th, that was very inspirational. That moment was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Exactly after 9 years on the same day, I got this award.
Wow. So that's like that was a very emotional.
Totally. Yeah.
You could have like shared that with the audience. I think
maybe. And this is the right moment.
Yeah, that was really exciting. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for the message. That brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you all for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, thumbs up, all the stuff. And I will see you all in our next episode.